What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today, from Star Wars The Black Series, we're taking a look at the Archive Collection version of Grand Admiral Thrawn. He is, of course, part of the latest wave of Archive figures that also include Hoth Han, Luke, and Commander Cody. I will also be posting reviews for Hoth Han and Luke. I skipped out on Cody simply because I have the original release. So let's go ahead and start out like we always do and take a quick look at the package here. Of course, this is the blister card style of packaging that we've come to know with the Archive figures. A little bit different this time around. It has the 50th Lucasfilm logo in the corner there. Grand Admiral Thrawn in gold. Of course, a nice picture of him right on the box there. You can see it says Archive on the side. Of course, you got the Black Series logo at the top. On the back here, there's a larger image of Thrawn. Here is his bio if you want to go ahead and pause it and read it there. And then they've also got a nice little timeline going on down here. And it also says, commemorate the first 50 years of Lucasfilm with figures inspired by the Star Wars animated series. So that is honestly pretty cool. And ooh, little shout out to Legends there. I like that. So let's go ahead. We're going to get this guy out of the package. We'll take a look at his one accessory and then the figure itself. Inbox collectors, avert your eyes. All right, and here is his one and only accessory, which is his little blaster pistol that is shaped uniquely for Thrawn. This is, of course, the same exact mold we got the first time around. However, you can see that this new version is actually a lot more shiny. Maybe it's just because it's newer, but the original version looking pretty dull these days. So yeah, I think maybe a different material, different type of plastic was used between the two weapons. But it is awesome. It is Thrawn's signature blaster, of course, that we see in Rebels, and it looks really good. And of course, he does have weapon storage, so you can just put it right in there and call it a day. So now let's take a look at Thrawn. All right, and here is the Grand Admiral out of the packaging, looking like a total badass, cold, calculating, ready to tear the rebels apart piece by piece. The first time around, I thought this figure was pretty good, but with this brand new photoreal update, it is even better. Absolutely love what they have done to his head. Of course, from the neck down, you're virtually getting the exact same figure, although there are some very minor differences between the two. So let's go ahead, we'll get Thrawn off the stand, we'll take a closer look, then we will compare the figures. All right, and here is Thrawn up close and personal, and you can see that wonderful photoreal head. He's got a lot more shading on his face this time around, and of course he has some more realistic looking eyes as well, really bringing out that sculpt that we originally had, but of course did not have any photoreal on it. The paint apps on the uniform are pretty clean as well, as you can see. Although he does have an overall shiny look to his uniform, which I'll show you on the original figure is not really all that present. But of course you can see, you know, he's got the gold on his shoulders there, pretty cleanly painted, although they didn't paint right there on either side. And then the paint does get a little sloppy around this area as well. Of course, you've got some more silver on the belt right there as well. But the overall sculpting, everything like that, the uniformed officer body is really spectacular. I love all the wrinkles, the folds. It does have like a textured look to it as well that you can see. I've always been a fan of the officer body. And down here you can see that he does actually have painted boots right here. And then the feet themselves appear to be black plastic. So it is a little mismatched in real life, but it's really something that's not that noticeable. And you can see his chiss blue skin does look really good as well. The hair is sculpted nicely, cleanly painted as well. There's no paint on his ears or anything like that, so that's always a good thing. So I'm gonna go ahead, we'll pull out the old Thrawn, and then I will show you them side by side. All right, and here they are right next to each other. Total night and day difference, especially with the painted head versus the photoreal head. Just take a look at that. two completely different figures. Definitely think the photoreal is a massive improvement. You can see there's like I was saying earlier, there's some shading on the face. It just adds a lot more dimension to it and also brings out a lot of that awesome sculpt, which of course they are the same sculpt between the two. Now I will say though, the original Thrawn does have some really nice piercing red eyes, and on the new one they are a little bit more reserved. They're particularly hard to see on camera how red they are. And the original's outfit is not quite as shiny as this new one. Not sure if that's just due to age or what, but even like the rank placard is more of like a dull, more realistic look on the old one versus the new one where it's nice and shiny. Not that that's a huge deal. I mean, if I really wanted to, you could just head swap the two, so I could put the new Thrawn head on the more matte colored body. Although I think the paint apps are just a little bit better on my new copy of Thrawn here. Besides the ranking placard, I think the pens, or whatever these are, the data sticks that are on the sides of the uniform are a lot cleaner. His gold pauldrons are a lot cleaner on the new one. But other than that, they are the same exact figure, and there's really not much difference between the two of them. So now let's go ahead and see how Thrawn articulates. For his head, Thrawn can look up not very far at all. He actually can't look up at all. It just goes straight forward, and he can look down just about that far. You can, of course, twist his head around, and you do not get really any attitude. Just a little bit, but it doesn't really want to stay. It just kind of goes back. The arms can go all the way out, no problem. They do rotate around. No butterfly joint. This is an older figure after all. He does have the nice deep single jointed elbow though. That does give you just a little bit more than 90 degrees. And of course it swivels at the elbow. The wrist can rotate around, and it does unfortunately have the horizontal hinge. And same thing with this hand, it just rotates around and has the horizontal hinge. Now I do think we could have benefited from some butterfly joints, because as a dude's nerdery pointed out, and I agree with him, I really do wish you could put Thrawn's hand up to his chin and have him touching his chin. Yeah, maybe the butterfly joints would have helped that out, maybe a little bit deeper cut on the elbow, but personally I usually have Thrawn posed with his arms behind his back, which I do think is a pretty badass Thrawn pose, just like this. Moving along his crunch, he can move forward ever so slightly, and he can go back quite a bit. He does also rotate around as well. His legs can kick out about that far. They can kick forward just that much there. The soft plastic skirt does get in the way. If you wanted to, you could force it a little bit more to get him to kick out further, but of course you're going to be stressing that out. He can kick back about that far. He does have thigh swivel right there, working great. Double jointed knee, that works pretty well. And of course, you know it, his feet can move down very far. They can move up just a little bit, and he's got that wonderful ankle pivot. So nothing really mind-blowing in the articulation department here. Of course, we've seen this figure in the past. I reviewed it in the past, way back in the day. And that's what the archive figures are. There is no articulation updates. It is, if applicable, just a photoreal update to the figure, and then oftentimes just slightly cleaner paint apps. So we really knew what we were getting out of this figure. But now let's go ahead, we're gonna put him back here, and I'll show you how he scales. First up, here is Thrawn with a couple Black Series Death Troopers, then with Hera and Ezra, then with Zeb and Vader, then we've got him with Jar Jar and the Mafex First Order Stormtrooper, then with the SH Figuarts Tank Pilot and the Figuarts IG-11. Then with the Bandai Movie Realization Shadow Stormtrooper and the Bandai Model Kit Scarif Trooper. And then last but not least, we have the Diamond Select Boba Fett and the Hasbro Snake Eyes. So there you have it. There is my review for the archive release of Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think this figure is an absolute essential for the collection, If you already have the older version, I can definitely see why you would pass on this new one. However, the photoreal update is truly fantastic. I would personally recommend upgrading if you do have the original Thrawn. My plans for mine is to sort of make a custom armored Thrawn where he has like the General Veers armor on, but it's in white. So I'm hoping to pick up a General Veers for the cheap just so I can repaint the armor. I think that would look super dope. But of course, if you don't have Thrawn at all, then you 100% need him for the collection. This figure is absolutely wonderful. Of course, I do wish the articulation was a little bit better, and maybe we could have included some other accessories with the figure itself. So let me know what you guys think of this figure. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. Of course, I'm Nate from Out of the Basement. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.